Spoiler alert. I mean, honestly, if you listen to this podcast, spoilers.
Beatrice would be a most excellent companion, wise and witty, sharp of mind, fleet of foot, and of most pleasing appearance.
All this is not unknown to me. I hear tell that she is a fair and beauteous maiden. No, whoa! It's you!
Your Highness, is something the matter?
What is it, Mr. King? Am I not your type?
People of the universe, please attend carefully. The message which follows is of vital importance to you all. We present to you a case study of one of the most dangerous minds in the universe. A history of the lives and times of the renegade Time Lord known as the Master.
Call me Master.
The choice is simple. Join us and continue listening, or face total annihilation.
Listen.
They are the Master, and you will obey them.
You will obey me.
Please attend carefully. Hello and welcome to Please Attend Carefully, the Doctor Who podcast about the most magisterial of malefactors. I'm Ciarán Moffatt.
And I'm Amber Patrick.
And each week we bring you a chapter from the lives and times of the renegade Time Lord known universally as the Master. This week we'll be looking at Missy Volume 1, a 2019 audio drama box set by Big Finish, with episodes written by Roy Gill, John Dorney, Nev Fountain, and Jonathan Morris. Amber, tell us what they're about.
Missy embarks on 4 seemingly unconnected adventures, but with one larger goal. She finds herself becoming a governess to 2 children, facing off against a rival renegade Time Lord, investigating a series of murders in America, and then simultaneously squashing and leading a rebellion uprising in space. All of this to get her hands on a grandfather clock, a TARDIS component, a man called Mark, a spare TARDIS, and a superpower source. This is really hard to sum up.
It was really hard to sum up. So the thing about this story is this series of stories, because they do seem unconnected, and basically you can take them individually. But once you get to the 4th story, it basically all ties it all up in one neat little bow. What it highlights is Missy's insanity, basically her chaos.
Yes.
It highlights her chaos, but then shows you that while she is chaotic, she is still capable of following a larger goal.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a good reason to do these audios instead of one of her episodes from the TV show is that on the TV show, if you're a Missy fan, you've seen all the episodes, right?
Yeah, right.
Like, absolutely. So this box set is an example of Missy just bouncing off the walls and doing whatever she wants, unbound from the Doctor.
Yeah.
Not having to follow his narrative, doing her own thing. And as you said, as a first time listening to these, I was like, what is going on? Where is this going? Like, there doesn't seem to be a through line here. Like, the only thing there's like a one-off line from each person in every story that kind of, you're like, oh, that must be leading to something, but you don't know what.
It is a beautiful box set because it also serves to give you a taster of what Missy can be like. It shows you all the different possibilities. Let's start at story 1, A Spoonful of Mayhem, which is also the title of the incredible opening theme to her series, which opens with this, like, it sounds like a siren going off, and then it's just this weird, chaotic, I love it. I absolutely love it. So episode 1, A Spoonful of Mayhem. We already know from Dark Water and Death in Heaven, she's doing this sort of Mary Poppins-ish thing.
Yes.
She's dressed very Victorian.
She's got the umbrella.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous look. It really is. It is the natural thing to put her in this situation.
What would you say your best qualities are, Miss...
Missy. I'm fabulous at strategy, mathematics, creative role play. I have the patience of a crocodile. In fact, you could say I'm mostly marvellous in every manner.
modest as well.
So we're doing a Mary Poppins parody.
We're doing a Mary Poppins parody. She's got these 2 kids. She's playing a governess, and she's getting them to do things for her.
Yeah, well, she's been trapped here too, we should mention.
She's been trapped on Earth. Yes, exactly. So she's been trapped on Earth by
the Wardens.
The Wardens, who are
A race of big, leathery bat creatures obsessed with rules and almost as powerful as they are pedantic.
And basically, she has to get a job to stay in line.
Yep.
So she's like, you want me to get a job?
The locals have a system of exchanging labour for paper and metal tokens. It keeps them occupied, docile and orderly, stifles hope, rebellion.
You want me to get a job?
Yes! Capital idea.
and she can't use any modern or futuristic technology.
Yep.
She has to contain herself to this period of time.
So she goes up to her house. And it's interesting that the two kids see her shoo off the original governor that they're supposed to be getting.
Yeah,
like
the
they know
teacher.
from the start that she isn't meant to be.
Taking the place of the old master.
So she thinks she's in disguise, but they know she's.
Not entirely what the agency led me to expect.
Yeah.
They've already rumbled her, essentially.
And it's sort of implied that they are together for quite a long time. Because I believe there is another story where it pops back and shows another adventure featuring
Oh, great.
them
Because
together.
I really enjoyed these two kids
is-
alongside her.
It is a beautiful thing, isn't it? Because the kids are talking in that wonderful sort of Victorian way. It sounds very sort of Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe in the way
Yeah.
they talk, or as you say, like Mary Poppins, which is the obvious influence here.
Do you think she should slide down the banisters like that? It's not very dignified.
Especially not with Mary on her way out from the kitchen. Magnificent. The way she wields that brolly.
Don't tell me you're starting to approve of her.
Never said that, did I? Come on, we'd better catch up.
I particularly liked Oliver because I felt like I kind of wanted to know more about him. The way he was being affected by Missy, and like he thought she was really awesome and she was, mischievous, and we find out his backstory is that he did an experiment on a dead cat with electricity and he got expelled from school for it.
It was an honest experiment into electrical galvanism.
And I really kind of wanted to know more about him because I thought he could make a really fun character to come back to.
Yeah. Basically, what they show you is they show you two precocious teenagers who are obviously incredibly intelligent. They're very intelligent kids, and they're not squeamish. And so basically, she just takes their level of acceptability, their line of morality, and just shifts it a bit more her way.
Again, this is another example of me being fooled because originally I was like, this is great. These kids are having a great time with it. It's a great example of how Missy can have companions, how she can play nice with people. Oh no, she's using it as a means to an end for her evil scheme. Never mind.
I think she likes having them around. I think there is definitely grounds for her being entertained.
I think perhaps that's how she treats everyone. Lifts us out of our box like little dolls. Plays along for a while, and when she gets bored, she drops us flat.
She needs them because, of course, she can't touch any technology. So she needs them to do it.
Yes, and like they do a heist on an art gallery and she makes the girl hide in a sarcophagus while everything's closing so that then after dark she can let her in through the bathroom window.
Another really interesting line in this story is the fact that Missy can't use any modern technology. So she goes searching for ancient technology. She goes searching for what even she calls magic because that won't show up on the warden's radar.
Yeah.
So she goes and traps a genie in a bottle.
Yeah, and then uses him to power a steam train that the children's father owns and use it to power up a crystal to...
It all seems kind of weird and a little bit convoluted. And of course, again, it's all a means to an end to end up trapping the wardens themselves.
Yes.
Ha! Deny me tech, would they? Think that would stop me? Strand me on this miserable planet? There are other sources of power.
Missy, as we know from so many other stories, kills indiscriminately. She never kills the kids. She never hurts them.
No, that's not the point here.
yeah.
They're useful, though, as well. Like,
Oh, yeah.
it should be rumbled if the second two kids were ever hurt. Her plan's over as well.
That was even part of her plan. She pushes the girl from the train, or the girl falls from the train, I forget. And time freezes because the wardens pick up on it immediately. That's another condition of her being there. She's not allowed to kill anyone. Mm-hmm. She's not allowed to kill anyone. But even after she frees the wardens, she doesn't kill the kids.
No. She doesn't,
Yeah.
Because also maybe she does see that they're a little bit devious. They're a little
Yes.
bit, they're a bit like her.
The way she talked to me changed. Like she suddenly realised me and Lucy weren't just props for her disguise, that we were people.
You and me, Oliver. We make a good team, don't we?
Yes, Missy. Always. But she never forgot we could be useful to her. I know that now.
One thing I love about this story is that not only is the adventure fun and chaotic and whimsical, is this our first ever fourth wall break?
I think it is. Oh, hold on. Let me just Google that, because there is a character in Doctor Who that does routinely break the fourth wall, and that is Captain John Hart from Torchwood.
Okay.
Let me just. It came out in January 2020. I will actually put that little thing in there. I will actually keep that in there. It came out in 2020. So Missy is the very first fourth wall. No. The first fourth wall break is in the Feast of Stephen with the First Doctor. And Merry Christmas to you all too. But I take your meaning. But yeah. Her actually talking to the audience.
Yeah, like being like, whoop. Hang on, you're probably wondering how I got here.
Yeah, which is great. It's such a 90s comedy thing.
Took me out at the knees. I was not ready for it because I haven't listened to a Missy audio yet, and I was just like, "What? Oh, okay, we're doing a fourth wall break. Okay, cool."
Okay, sidebar. Bit of an explanation. I'm gonna break the dramatic diegesis and catch yous up. Aren't you lucky?
She doesn't do it often. I don't think she does it in any other story now I think about it, but
okay, but that's fine. This one we're gonna get more of it. We'll get to it. We're gonna get way more of it later on.
This is what Big Finish is doing. They're showing this is Missy. Missy is completely unlike any other character and completely unlike any other master. Also, the fact that again this is a master story that is the Doctor is not involved at all. So all safety precautions are off.
Yeah, she's in control. She can do whatever she wants. No one's there to tell her no.
Yep.
If anyone does tell her no, she can physically stop the story in its tracks.
Yes.
To see what she says about that.
The first episode is such a beautiful comedy. Like it is so much comedy.
Oh yeah, that was one of the notes.
I love the dad.
Yeah,
I love the dad. What, Missy? She's fine. Go enjoy your time with her.
Good chap. That's the spirit. And do your best not to set fire to anything, won't you?
Yes, this is one of my notes for this episode, was that if the War Master, if his subgenre of the audios is sci-fi drama, this is sci-fi comedy with Missy.
I would say his is sci-fi horror.
That's also true. Actually, I hadn't listened to the most recent Out of Time one when I wrote that note.
Oh.
So, yes, absolutely. So, normally in which they won't be dramas, this is definitely a fun-loving, have a fun time having Missy. Within, obviously, the psychotic narrative of a master.
The thing about this box set is even when individual stories I'm not too crazy about, the thing about Missy in general, even when there's an individual story I'm not crazy about, I like that it's there because Big Finish is trying new things.
Yeah, definitely.
They should be trying new things. They should always be trying and pushing that boundary. And as I've said on this podcast and several other podcasts and just generally screaming it from the rooftops, Doctor Who can and should be funny.
Yes. Yeah.
It should be funny at times. Because it has such potential for it.
Yeah, it can't take itself too seriously. I often think about when you see people complaining sometimes about things. I mean, even we get into things like, how does that work? Another science fiction, Mystery Science Theatre have a fantastic line in their theme song. If you're wondering why it doesn't work or about some of the science facts, just repeat to yourself, it's just a show and I should just relax.
That's true.
I love that. And that's what this was. It was just be on for the ride. I'm not a huge fan of characters that I guess I'm going to reach for the example of Deadpool in Marvel. I'm not a huge fan of characters like that are referencing random things and jumping and doing asides. But for this Missy one, I felt in the audio format that it really worked in this genre within her own audio. If she was doing this perhaps in other audios and interrupting other storylines, maybe it wouldn't work, but it doesn't. No. It works here on her own.
Yeah, they don't, to my knowledge, and I'm pretty sure I've listened to everything that has Missy in it. She doesn't do that. But the thing is, the character is still the same. It still remains. I love, Michelle Gomez. I
Yeah.
I love the way she characterizes it. In the audio, you can experience it just as much as in film.
Seriously? I can't drop one primitive off a roof? This is so outrageous.
I love the way that her accent slips and changes.
Yeah, I adore that.
It is a beautiful choice, and it is a choice, clearly. Like,
Yes, and also I love that they even use that. They're so clever in this audio. Because when she does disguises in this audio,
it's just her putting on a terrible accent.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but
deliberately terrible.
Yeah, deliberately terrible. But all the characters around are falling for it, but you, the listener, know. Like, War Master hides in plain sight in his disguises. He's always a doddery old man who just changes his name because no one knows him. She doesn't even do that in this.
Yep.
She uses it as a way of having fun, of disguising herself absolutely ridiculously. Like, I think even in Masterful, she's a gypsy woman, and all of the masters are like, you're not fooling us.
See pushing someone off a roof? Funny. See teleporting them from mid-air after I drop them? Not funny. It's no difficult to tell them apart.
So in Spoonful of Mayhem, she's using the kids to get this magic power, which, again, it's a very mastery thing, isn't it? I mean, you look at the Daemons, or you look at, I hate to bring up the Time Monster, but you look at
Why? I'm going to come up to bat for the Time Monster.
Really?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just a bit...
No.
Oh, okay.
We're going to wait. Well, strap in for whenever that episode happens.
You're a big fan of the Time
I
Monster.
love that story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm still a little bit sore about was it the Time Monster that had the filing cabinets in the Doctor's?
No, it's Colony in Space.
Oh, it's Colony. Oh, yeah, that you got me with the.
No, absolutely. I'm coming up. I will defend Time Monster.
All right, we'll get to that one of these days. But yeah, like using ancient powers is 100% the Master. Like stuff that people would go, "Oh, that's not true." The Master's just like, "I'm going to go find out if it is true. Like if enough people have talked about it, I'm going to go give it a go."
Yeah.
The Master never dismisses something as being stupid or wrong.
Yeah. I mean, they've got the time to find out.
Yep.
If it's not true, it doesn't matter. I mean, moving on. But if it is real and it does give me power and everyone else has dismissed that power, then they get the upper hand.
It's kind of like...
Is this another amazing analogy?
No, this is a comparison. So it's kind of like where the Master watches TV and like watches kid shows and just assumes that they're real creatures.
Yeah.
Like the Master, they take everything at face value. They're like, okay, sure. Like,
yeah. Same with Robert's Master. Jokes just...
You kill me, man. You want me to kill you.
Yeah. Just things like that. Just at the face value. All in their own different way, which is fantastic.
You say genie, I say H2O-based berry form. This flask is its bottled universe.
That's wonderful. Okay, so yeah, the first story is great. I love it. It's funny. Is there anything else you want to say on the first story, Spoonful of Mayhem?
Yeah, there is one line. I've written the note. I should have been more thorough with my note taking. She mentions having a wife, which I assume Lucy?
Could be.
Yeah. She makes reference to having a wife in the past, which is just an interesting callback.
I can't help you. I have a wife, a family.
Oh, tush. We've all got a wife. That's hardly an excuse.
The thing about Missy, though, is that Missy is exemplified by Stephen Moffatt in that she loves throwing out random bits of lore that may or may not be true.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess we do know the Master did actually have a wife, so...
Well, I mean, we do know
if we take it at face value, it's Lucy. If not, then yes, she's just making up random lore.
Would Lucy have had a happier life being married to Missy than being
Absolutely.
married to the Sim Master? Write in, tell us.
Yeah, I genuinely want to know if people think that. Send me your Lucy, Missy. Like, Ciarán doesn't look at the Tumblr, but I will. So send me whatever Lucy, Missy content's out there, please.
She reads me the lewd bits.
We must study something. History, perhaps. The dates of kings and queens.
I've dated them all. Better to be one, I say.
Okay, so on to the second story in the box set. Divorced, Beheaded, Regenerated.
Strap yourselves in, everyone, because he is going to... He's excited. I can see him. He's gripping the edge of his chair. He's ready.
Yeah, okay. Divorced, Beheaded, Regenerated. We meet one of the best characters in Doctor Who history, the monk, the meddling monk, who is
He's
not a monk.
fanboying hard right now.
Oh, I love the meddling monk so much. And especially this portrayal.
This was fantastic.
Your Highness,
Your Highness? Is it that obvious? By abandoning my carriage, I thought to travel as a common man.
in all your finery.
A common man with style, obviously.
Yes, when this character, Henry VIII, starts talking and everything, it's like, oh, wow, they've really got a good actor. Because I'm not a big Finnish person that I know who's doing all the roles and everything. And I was like, wow, this guy is giving it his all as Henry VIII. Because I didn't know it was going to be a surprise to me. I didn't know it was the monk.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it was a surprise when it was revealed.
So, yeah, the monk is played by Rufus Hound, who is the third actor in the role. The first was Peter Butterworth in the first Doctor series 2
Time
and 3.
Meddler.
Yes, the Time Meddler. And then Graham Garden of The Goodies was the second monk in the 8th Doctor audio adventures. And now Rufus Hound is the monk, and he's been in some 8th Doctor audio adventures. But putting him up against Missy was a master stroke.
Yeah, this is the highlight of the box set. Absolutely.
So the thing about the monk is, and look, the monk may just get its own little thing off to the side when we're talking about this. The thing about the monk is you cast a comic actor to play the monk, because the monk is a comic character.
Yeah.
And Rufus Hound is an amazing comedian. I strongly recommend looking him up, especially easiest thing to find would be episodes of him on The Unbelievable Truth. So funny. Just brilliant. And this portrayal of the monk as sort of whiny. What are you doing here?
Yeah. My thought is when I listened to this, as I was like, I can totally imagine the Doctor and the Master back at the academy and school together, and this is the third tag-along kid that wishes he was part of their group, but he's not. And the other two have their own thing going on. They're cool, and he's just like, guys, can I come too? Guys.
I know who you are. You know I know who you are. Missy. You're Missy, the artist formerly known as the Master.
The great thing about this episode is that the monk is stuck on Earth, and he is deciding to make as big a damage to the web of time as possible so that someone will come and find him. So he has tied up Henry VIII and left him in his TARDIS.
In the Zero Room.
In the Zero Room, yeah, just left him there. And he is impersonating Henry VIII, and he's going to marry someone who isn't one of the six famous six wives.
They say he hasn't been killing the right people.
Yeah, hasn't been killing the right people and leaving the wrong people alive.
Yes. And so he shows up to this estate house to...
he's to marry the daughter.
Yes, Beatrice Foxwood.
Foxcroft.
I believe, is who he's going to marry. And the father, Lord Foxwood's like, and here's my daughter.
And she comes out, and the monk recognizes her instantly. He goes, oh no, not you.
Yeah, because we find out he's memorized all their faces.
I've made it my business to memorize every renegade out there. You never know who you're going to bump into.
I mean, all the better to avoid them.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, when you are... The monk is one of the single most intelligent of the renegade Time Lords, in that he knows the Doctor and the Master, and he knows exactly what they're like, so he does everything he can to avoid them.
I think it's a line in this where she says, like, oh, I had to disguise myself, otherwise you wouldn't come here. He's like, you're right, I'd have fled to the other end of the country. Like, yeah. And so they've both got to try and keep up this charade. And they start playing marriage chicken with one another, where they know that they have basically told everyone that they're going to get married.
Yeah.
So now they kind of have to get married, and both of them are going to see who backs out first. So for the rest of this story is just them slowly progressing towards the altar.
And of course, the monk has been keeping the right people aside just in case. So, like, he's got Catherine Parr there waiting to marry the king. But of course, my favorite thing about this story is just like, oh, you're the monk. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. You're the monk. Do I look like a monk? No, but we know you're the monk. You look exactly like... No, I'm dressed as a king. Look, you wear a cassock one time.
Yes, that line's fantastic. And then at the end of the adventure, He's like, "I'll get you. My name's not the meddling monk." Like, he's owned it. He's just owning it by the end of the episode.
Alliteration trumps accuracy, love. Get used to it.
I feel like, along with McQueen Master, this is a character I'm like, bring them in. Bring them into canon in the show. Like, I consider Big Finish canon. But this version of the monk, get him on the show. This deserves screen time.
Absolutely. Rufus Hound is a brilliant actor. He's actually already been in the show. He was in the two-parter with Maisie Williams.
Okay.
Yeah. He plays the Highwayman who almost gets hanged.
That's fine. Time Lords have
exactly,
human
fine,
faces. Bring him in. Him and McQueen, get them in the show.
I'm not completely irresponsible. Well, I mean, I am, obviously, but I'm not insane.
So Missy ends up being thrown into the dungeons because he's like, "You've committed treason. You've been sleeping with other men." And she's like, "We've been together the whole time writing." He's like, "I know. It's amazing that you managed to achieve such much in such a short time."
It is beautiful. It is wonderful wordplay. And it's just so his voice is so wonderfully whiny.
Oh, it is.
It's sort of he manages to be posh and whiny at the same time.
Yeah, and he's clearly just also having so much fun, like the actor in this role.
Rufus,
he's just having the best time.
And this is the awkward thing about it. So like the monk has been waiting here for someone to come and find him, and unfortunately Missy's the one that's come and found him. And then these things called time reavers.
Grammarians are paradox feeders.
Come looking for them.
Yeah, and they sort of are collecting famous people.
Yeah.
For their collection. So I would say they're a pretty standard villain. You listen to it, you're like, yeah, that's a thing that could happen.
It sounds really gruesome when you actually hear it. Like they're basically putting people in Mylar bags and vacuum sealing them.
Yeah.
So you're dead.
What is this? It is solid to the touch, yet I can see through it.
It is a preservation bubble. Far beyond the current capabilities of this planet, it will prevent your body from being damaged in any way. It will not rot or be subjected to the usual viruses. It will resist extreme temperatures, both hot and cold, and survive any accident that may occur.
Oh, I suppose that seems almost desirable. But if you would not object...
It shall now be vacuum sealed.
This show manages to be very referential.
Yes, she drops so many references.
Exactly. Which is basically... It's Missy showing that A, she's having fun, and B, that she has total contempt for the laws of time.
Yes, she just wants to do her thing, and it's just rules and regulations are her enemy. For this master, that's her downfall. War Master, he plays very well with rules. Missy hates them.
Yeah.
They're just stopping her from having fun.
And what's great about this story is normally the monk is the one that's going, I'm having fun while everyone else is stressed. He is so stressed.
Mm-hmm.
And Missy is having so much fun, and he is more stressed by the fact that she's just cool and calm and enjoying herself.
Yeah, because he's trying to play her bluff. You won't marry me.
Yeah.
He's trying to play it, and he's trying to be better than her, but she obviously is not letting down. And she's going to walk down the aisle with him. Like, she's got no problem with that.
This is the thing about Missy. She clearly does not care if the world burns. Like, she will keep going until someone stops her. Do not play chicken with Missy because she will always win.
Yes.
And in the end means that everyone loses.
You know what? I've changed my mind. You might be a traitor, but what's love if it isn't forgiveness? It's back on. It's more than back on. It's Sir Francis back on. We're getting married tomorrow.
Yep, okay. Can't help but feel I might have miscalculated.
The main contention between the two of them is that she wants to know where his TARDIS is,
and
he wants to know how she got here. Because he figures out that she doesn't have a TARDIS.
Yeah.
So the entire time, they're trying to make the deal. Tell me where your TARDIS is, only if you told me how you got here. And just backwards and forwards the whole time.
And eventually we find out that she was travelling by vortex manipulator.
It can take two. The vortex manipulator. It can take... No!
So the Time Reavers show up.
Grammarians?
Right at the time when they're about to get married. And they're waiting for anyone big now. Which has been cut.
Right. Yeah, he's cut. Wait, isn't there meant to be a thing about... Nope.
Yes. Does anyone want to say anything? No, they don't. Keep moving on.
Yep.
But eventually the Reavers show up and scare the two of them away from the altar.
Yeah.
And he obviously, as she guesses, runs straight to his TARDIS because he can throw out the old Henry VIII as a to be taken and he
Yep.
can hide. Because the Time Reavers
Grammarians.
want him because he looks like Henry VIII.
Yeah.
You are King Henry VIII?
Yes, I am. Who wants to know?
Okay, so my favourite part of this whole thing is when the monk is having to convince Catherine Parr that he is Henry VIII. Can you please sing me the song that you wrote for me? And he's like, I'm Henry VIII, I am. Henry VIII, I am. And afterwards, Missy and him are talking about it, and she's just like, green sleeves? You couldn't remember green sleeves?
Henry VIII, I am. Yeah. No.
So in the end, Missy does get the part out of his TARDIS.
Yeah.
And he gets stuck on Earth again.
He does, and it is a wonderful, because he just through gritted teeth, he's like, as soon as I'm done with the Doctor, I'm coming for you.
It's very Australian.
Come on, man.
I'm sorry. It's good. No, it's fine.
Wow, you are at
It's just
me today.
because you don't sound Australian to me normally. So then when you do sound Australian, it's jarring.
Right in. Do I sound Australian or do I sound English? I feel like to English people I sound Australian, to Australian people I sound English.
So that's the second story in this set of 4.
The second story, and I think honestly, unfortunately, it was the high point.
Yes, it absolutely is.
Yeah.
I wish this had been last. No.
I think it should have been third, because like if you'd gotten to because the first one had to be good, but if you'd had if you'd had 3 and 4 in the middle, no one would have got to the last one to enjoy it.
Yeah. So this next one, I will admit. All right, so the next one is like a true crime documentary podcast style.
Yeah.
There's narration. I will admit, I started listening to this one. I was like, oh no, I don't know if I'm going to make it through this. Am I going to have to message Ciarán and tell him we're going to have to swap what episode we do? Because I don't think that I can. And as I was thinking this, Missy goes, all right, everything stop. I can't keep doing this narrative anymore. We have to get rid of this format of narrations and people explaining what's happening. And then we do it. And then we do all the. She's like, nope, get rid of it, gone. And I was like, thank God.
Yes.
Because it got me right at the right time. Like it held out just long enough to be annoying that you started getting annoyed at it.
Yeah.
And then she saves you from it.
So it's a true crime show about a case of some people missing and murdered. And so you've got the host who is interviewing it's done in the style of one of those dodgy old American true crime things where you got the detective on and then you had
recreations,
actors recreating it, that sort of thing. So there's someone recreating it, but there is a beautiful part in that where the detective says, no, this isn't a recreation. That's definitely me when I was younger. He's got a mole on his hand where I've got one.
Yeah, and the narration seems to be controlling them literally.
You ever get that feeling that you're acting out lines put in your head?
Not really. No.
Well, to be more accurate, it's like I've got lines for myself all prepared and I'm just delivering them by rote.
Sounds deep, Joe. I should never have shown you that Picasso painting.
So, honestly, explaining what goes on in this episode is far too convoluted and you kind of have to listen to it.
Yeah.
But in the end, what it turns out to be is that Missy has found her TARDIS from the Time War, which had basically grown sentient and then gone insane.
The Time Lords are experimenting with AI, sentient TARDISes, and it got so powerful that it became a person, basically. And it basically just got very we got depressed, really, didn't it? It's kind of Douglas Adams-ish in its Again,
sort
it
of
looked into the void and realized it was owned by a monster, and it doesn't like that Missy kills, and even when the war is done, it knows she will continue to kill, and it can't live with itself, basically, so it heads off to find a new owner.
Well, yeah, and I think that's one of the beautiful things of this story is you do have to slog through a lot, but the payoff is actually very good in finding out that the people that have been missing or dead, actually the TARDIS chose them as its pilot, and then they went off and did things, and basically they weren't killed, they died of old age.
Yeah, or they just couldn't some of them just couldn't hack it or,
Yeah.
things like that. And all the people are found dead of old age or a heart attack, even though they were only seen hours ago by a witness. So how could they have aged all this time in a few hours? But yeah, they've been traveling.
Which is where we get to the payoff of the story, whereby the detective was chosen to be the next pilot. He chose not to travel with the TARDIS because he didn't want Missy to have it. He didn't want to give Missy an interface into the TARDIS.
Yeah.
And so he just waited there till he died. And as it said, like, when you die, your life flashes before your eyes. When you're in a TARDIS like that, your life really flashes before your eyes. So this whole show contrivance is literally him being shown the events of his life that led to this by the TARDIS.
I'm old. I'm dying. I've been inside this TARDIS for 52 years, give or take a week. And dying is a great way of turning the tables. You know what they say, what happens when you die? They say your whole life flashes before you.
That's what they say.
But you know what happens when you die in a time machine? Well, it really flashes before your eyes. All of it.
I do like Mark in comparison to Idris, the two versions of the TARDIS. The Doctor's TARDIS is completely insane and off the wall, and the Master's TARDIS is depressed by all the murder it saw. Can we ship Idris and Mark?
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. Idris and Mark.
Yeah, I want them to meet.
You want them to meet?
Yeah, like the Master of the Doctor, but they're TARDISes. In
Send us your
form.
fanfic.
Yes, please. I want that.
Send us your fan art.
I mean,
Actually,
I might
keep it G, but like
I might write that.
You might write that. Cottagecore, Idris and Mark.
Tumblr, I want that as well. I'll lead the charge.
I was a new kind of time machine with defense systems beyond the dreams of any civilization. I was so sophisticated I achieved sentience. Then I went mad.
You went mad?
The very moment I realized that the one who piloted me was a psychopath. I knew when the war was over he would go back to killing. I couldn't cope with that.
It is really clunky and just a bit obnoxious in the narration. It's meant to be.
Yeah.
I'll point out, I don't think the Big Finish have misstepped with this. They knew exactly what they were doing and they execute it. I just struggled a lot with this.
It is, the thing about this story is you need to be, like most of us, like even me, I am constantly doing things when I'm listening to audio dramas. You know, I feel, I don't know, my psychologist would probably say I feel that time's wasted unless I'm doing two things at once. But this audio, you need to be like listening just to this audio. And also, I think probably fans of true crime documentaries would probably find it a lot more accessible than someone like me who is more of an audio drama person.
Yeah, I listened to this while I was walking my beagle Percy around, so I wasn't doing anything else. I was walking.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just...
I love how Percy got a name check there. So... But of course it ends in the end with Missy getting control of the TARDIS.
Yes.
Who has developed a personality and is called Mark.
Yes, he likes the name Mark. My favourite part of this adventure was when Missy kills the actress doing an awful Scottish accent.
You think that's Scottish? That's not Scottish. That's just Irish with bits in.
Okay. Now, speaking of awful accents, we get into part 4 and Missy's Mexican accent.
Yeah, really bizarre. So in this one, she's playing herself as the head of some sort of like totalitarian mining company with slaves.
Yep.
But then she's also playing the Mexican like head of the rebels.
Yeah, the rebels, yeah.
Who are hiding in the caves that the slaves are mining.
Yep.
And then it turns out to just be herself and her future self who's gone back in time.
She describes it as playing chess and then turning the board around.
Yeah.
Playing, which is the master all over.
Yeah.
Fun and games.
This planetoid that is being mined by these people who are slaves. Apparently, they're all from Glasgow. Apparently. Good performances.
They're mining.
Yep.
And they start to realize that they're not mining in a mine. They're mining inside a giant skeleton.
Yes, exactly. All the while being attacked by what they call kobolds, which are these big insectoid creatures.
Which we find out are the slaves mutated.
Yes. And then, of course, we find out that the slaves, who all believe that they've been kidnapped from their home planet to come and work on the thing, are actually, they've all just been grown. They're all clones.
Yeah. So they're all clones. Yeah, and eventually they reach into their life cycle or something corrupts them and they become the kobolds and then they...
It was the Artron radiation coming from the TARDIS that is at the bottom of this stone creature. Convoluted plot line. It did kind of I like the idea of Missy playing against herself and the fact that she's playing with real people. Because they are just playing pieces to her. But yeah, Planet of the Glaswegians. I still don't really know where to put it. It feels like, it sounded like they had like a half decent premise, but of course it had to be sort of in purpose of the grander scheme of the box set.
Yeah, and I feel like with me listening to it, I was interested. I mean, it's a master box set, so you know that they're going to come out on top at the end. So you know the plight of the slaves is, they're going to join the Alliance. And like, ultimately, I know that Missy's going to crush them all.
Yeah.
But then when it's revealed that she is also the head of the rebels, doing a really weird accent choice that's just taking the piss.
Yeah, basically.
For the benefit of the audience, because you already know that these slaves aren't going to survive. And then we start getting into the convoluted thing of like, the slaves die, but then their clones get resurrected and they have the memories of the last slave, of the last clone that they were. And it gets a little messy, I think,
and once you get to the end, it is very, very bleak thinking that they all just died. They all just died. They served their purpose and that was it. That one is definitely the bleakest of all of them.
Yes. Definitely. Coming off the back of the monk and the Mary Poppins impersonation.
Yeah. I mean, little side note, that episode stars John Scoogle and Lucy Goldie, who have a podcast called Behind the Voice on Podbean. It's all about voice acting and podcasting, and it's very good. I look forward to their next episode.
No! Claws! Well, now we know where the kobolds come from. What?
As Missy says, like, this is a long process. So, as we find out, a creature swallowed a TARDIS, what Missy calls the master TARDIS, the TARDIS to control all TARDISes. This creature swallowed it, and then it turned into stone. So she's mining to try and find this TARDIS. It's a long process. She uses clones because they're cheap and easy. The Artron energy turns them into these things, these kobolds. And basically, the whole revolution thing, as she said, is there to A, get rid of any insurgents. Like, because obviously there are going to be some exceptions to the slaves. Like the slaves, some of them are going to evolve to be belligerent. So having a resistance already there helps her weed out the unsavory elements.
Yep, because they're going to try and find her other self and join her. Yep.
So she has total control. But as she said, the other part of it is basically it's such a long-winded process of doing this that she needs something to amuse herself.
Yeah, I think at one point she's like, get me the popcorn.
Yeah.
To Dr. Goodlove?
Dr. Goodnight. That's
Goodnight.
Right. Yeah, Dr. Goodnight, who's a robot. So yeah, it is a bit of an odd story, but basically it comes down in the end to the fact that she wanted this TARDIS and then her TARDIS, Mark. She gets in this master TARDIS. She opens up the Eye of Harmony, flings Mark in, which, as we know, happened to her before.
Yes.
Flings him in, blows up the sun around this mining planet, and uses that power plus her TARDIS and a piece from the monk's TARDIS.
Yes, that's
basically
right.
Things that she has gathered throughout all these audios to get this TARDIS working, and now she has a working TARDIS, and not just any TARDIS, the Master TARDIS.
Yes, which was a great payoff and worth the thing.
Yeah.
What was the grandfather clock in the first one? She takes a grandfather clock, or was that just her TARDIS?
I think that was just her TARDIS.
No, because she's got the vortex manipulator for travel.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know. They're all written by different people, so there might have been a slight breakdown in communication there. But the grandfather clock, although I do like when she gets into the master TARDIS and she decides whether or not what she's going to... No, the grandfather clock is what she takes from the first one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, but she takes the grandfather clock. And that's right, she's going, I don't know, should it be a grandfather clock again?
Yeah.
That's
Couldn't
a bit
resist
old
a ticking clock. Yeah. Yeah.
That is a wonderful line that pops up a lot. Couldn't resist a ticking clock.
I did it, I got the Master TARDIS, I did it.
So yeah, overall, the first two are so strong. And it's not that the second two aren't, maybe just in comparison to how good the first two are, the second two, they're all very disjointed from one another, these 4 stories. Given that they are all so different, depending on your tastes, you will like one more than the other. Some people will prefer the murder mystery one and the mining uprising one compared to Spoonful of Mayhem, which is the Mary Poppins one. Some people won't like that. It's hard when all 4 are so different from each other.
See, and that in itself should be applauded, that Big Finish is willing to try new things. And if there's one common thread amongst them, it is that Missy's character is completely fleshed out. Like, she has a purpose, but she's having fun.
Yes,
she is constantly just having fun. And I do like the sort of egging her on, you know, trying to play chicken with her, and the fact that she doesn't care about consequences.
No.
Which, if you look at, say, the episode where Missy is captured by UNIT and she kills Osgood. I'm more used to you alive. Yep. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. You've forgotten one thing. I'm insane.
Yeah. I will say about the Belly of the Beast episode.
Yeah.
The sound effects of them turning into kobolds.
So visceral, weren't they?
Awful. Like, just the squelching and the screaming and the other characters reacting. Like,
that's why I say it's really grim. Like, when Missy leaves, when she leaves them there and the kobolds come in and then they start getting killed, you hear like rending flesh. It's
their sound design is another level.
Yes, it is. Big Finish sound design, we love it.
Missy, I regret to inform you that Mr. Bryce has just been savaged to death.
Well, I know that. I just wanted to hear it again.
I really want to talk about Missy as a woman being the master now.
Okay.
Because I did notice, thankfully, there was a few throwaway lines because she's, you know, in a certain time period in Spoonful of Mayhem.
Yeah.
That they mentioned, I can't quite remember the line, but they did say something to her like, oh, as a woman, you should do this. And she's like, what? No way. Like, and she sort of throws it back in them. And I was like, yes, I love that sort of having, because let's face it, some of the female characters and the actresses are portrayed very meekly in the show, in that they do what they're told. It isn't until we get like Tegan, who's like, no, I'm not going to make the tea, you know, that kind of thing. So having the master, that big personality, now be a woman, is fantastic, because you do get that strong female character who's like, no, I don't do that. Like, I don't fit into that role. I may look like a woman, but I'm not conforming to any gender role that you may think I belong in. Like, it's really refreshing, you know, as a woman.
Yeah.
And I am so glad that we did get a female master.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting, isn't it? Because I think we've mentioned before how the Doctor, although his continuity is fucked, you can't fuck around with it. Whereas the master, you're a lot more free to play with. And I think introducing changing genders when regenerating it was only ever going to work if you tried it with the master first.
The audience will be more accepting of that leap.
Exactly. And I mean, people have to remember that, sure, people have talked about changing genders when regenerating. They've talked about it. In the show, it was only ever said once, and that was in Neil Gaiman's The Doctor's Wife, when talking about the Corsair. Like, that was the only time ever in canon that it was said. And then you got Missy a few years later.
Yeah. It's a shame that I think it happens in the comics, that we get 13 and Missy together. Am I remembering wrong?
I don't know. Possibly. It may have happened. I'll have to check. I'll have to check the spreadsheet.
Yeah, I do love Missy's costume in the comics with the rubber duck hat. But yeah, I would have loved to have seen them on screen together. 2 female Time Lords would have been awesome to have together. Yeah. It's not too late. We may get them.
I still want to know who Indira Varma is playing in the next season of Doctor Who. It's all very hush hush.
Ciarán, were you attending carefully?
He's hoping.
Okay. What are the terms of Missy's prohibition with the Wardens?
No killing. No murdering. Oh. Well, no technology.
Yes,
one.
use of uncontemporary tech, sanctioned.
Sanctioned?
That's what she'll be. She'll be sanctioned.
Should be sanctioned. Okay. Murder
is reprimanded.
Oh, okay. Right, I see. Traveling outside the time zone?
Yep. Attempts to flee, sanctioned.
Right. How many more are there?
That's all.
Oh, okay, good. Right, so sanctioned but reprimanded for murder. Okay.
Yes. If you attempt to flee the allocated time period or to otherwise elude the wardens, you will be sanctioned. If you make use of any non-contemporary technology, this will be seen as a de facto escape attempt, and you will be sanctioned. If you attempt to kill any of the local population, you will be...
Sanctioned. Yeah, got it.
You will be reprimanded most severely.
Who did Missy hypnotize in order to escape the executioner?
Wow, I thought I did really well with this one, but I clearly haven't. The executioner?
One of them is the executioner.
The executioner, Catherine Parr.
Nope. Think of a Monty Python sketch. No, you're not going to get that reference until I read it out. All right. It's the jailer, the jailer's wife, magistrate that the jailer's wife had an affair with, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, and then the executioner.
Oh, dear.
It makes me think of that Graham Chapman sketch. No one's to have clearance, apart from me, my wife.
And my wife's friends. And some chap I met called Bernard, yeah.
How did you get to the executioner?
It took time. Hypnotised the jailer first, got him to bring his wife to the jail. She was having an affair with a local magistrate. Hypnotised her into bringing him. Then he brought a butcher, who brought a baker, a candlestick maker, and so on and so on. Finally, Choppy McChopface back there sent him off swinging with a trigger phrase.
What police rank does Missy Masters hold?
Detective Inspector.
Yes. What model was Missy's TARDIS?
A Mark IV. No. Mark 20?
Mark 212.
Mark 212. Bugger.
And I know you're not going to like me for this one.
I've got the booze ready.
Missy talks about philosophers. Who did say learning to love yourself is the greatest love of all?
I mean, it's obviously not a philosopher. Oh, it's what was it? I don't like a musician of some sort. It was a singer. It was I don't know.
Whitney Houston.
Whitney Houston. I'm the worst gay on the planet. I am.
I knew you'd hate me for that one. That's some outside knowledge one, but I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't know about you. I Google things as I go if I don't get the reference. I need to understand the joke.
Okay.
That's revealed a bit about me.
It's the tism.
What does that mean?
Oh, don't be a dotard. You're not explaining all my references.
Oh, is that it? Yep.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's full
That
five.
was the worst I've ever done.
Yeah, that was, I think you got one.
Yep. Oh, and you did say you were going to make them harder.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. With that resounding defeat, Amber, what have we learned?
We have learned that Missy now owns the Master TARDIS, the TARDIS to control all TARDISes.
TARDISes?
TARDISes.
TARDISes. Not that we know what that means for TARDISes.
No, I've got no idea what that means.
Yeah, no, I don't even think it actually comes up again.
Oh,
but
fantastic.
I know it probably does. Anyway,
when it does, we're ready. We know
we're
that.
ready. Yeah, it'll be on the spreadsheet.
She's on the Monk's bad list.
Oh yeah, is she on the Monk's bad list? Oh.
She can control her own narrative when she so chooses. She can break the fourth wall.
Yeah, that's a new one.
Yeah, that's no master's ever done that before.
No, I think that other masters would have seen that as frivolous and flippant.
I think that's all. Those are two main things we learned about that.
Yeah, again, like learning things about the master and experiencing the master are two very different things.
Oh yeah, like just because we didn't learn more beyond that, that was the point of this audio. The fun we had along the way. It was about the fun we had along the way with this one. No, I think it was about highlighting how she is completely in control to the point that she can just have a laugh.
Yeah.
She doesn't feel the need to be. That's probably the biggest difference. This master does not feel the need to be feared or adored or in control.
Yeah.
She just is those things. Like,
And she's changeable. She can change. She can flip on a dime. She can
Yeah.
suddenly change her opinion and her feelings on something. And it's quite startling when she does.
Whereas the War Master leads people down a path to them fearing him and being totally and utterly destroyed, and them knowing that he was the one that did that. I don't think Missy gives a shit if people know she did it or not.
Yeah.
All that matters is that she did it for herself when she needed to do it for herself.
Yeah, there's a great audio story, not in this box set, of she's, this is my companion. I met him. It's like, you picked me up on a battlefield of a war you started. And she's like, yes. Details.
This master can play nice with companions.
Yeah.
She didn't hurt the kids. She did allow them to live.
Which is reflected in the fact that we later see Missy being the closest of the masters to being rehabilitated.
Yeah, it will be interesting because also, again, we're analysing a master that has no doctor beside them to counterweight them. So it will be interesting to see what we learn when we get to there.
So, where are we sitting with this? Where's the death count sitting with this?
2 Time Reavers.
Grammarians?
Right.
1 voice actress playing Missy.
Mm-hmm.
The villagers, then a lot of clones, so undeterminable amount of people.
Okay, right.
So a large, on par with like Jacoby.
Yeah, right up there.
Yes. Again, a story where there's no doctor to stop them. So there's hundreds of thousands can die and it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, that's exactly as you say. Like, with no doctor around, this is just people dropping like flies.
Yeah.
I'm finding this distrust rather hurtful. What have I done to deserve it?
Nearly destroyed the universe on multiple occasions?
Apart from that...
Well, that's all for this week's episode of Please Attend Carefully. Thank you so much for listening. We hope that with each new episode you come to understand, appreciate, and maybe even obey the Master. Don't forget to follow or subscribe to be updated on new episodes. And Amber, how can listeners get in contact with us?
You can email us at pleaseattendcarefully@gmail.com. Send us an ask on Tumblr at pleaseattendcarefully. Or you can follow us on Instagram at pleaseattendcarefully.
Yep. Don't forget, you can also go to pzinner.com.au/shows/attend for exclusive content not available in the main feed. I've been Ciarán.
And I've been Amber. Happy holidays, everyone. Keep an eye on our socials and we'll let you know when the next episode's coming out. It will be in the new year.
Yes, we hope you'll be tuning in. After all, it can't hurt you to listen, can it?